Hello, everyone. Welcome to the StressOut podcast, where we explore strategies for managing work-related stress and burnout. Today with us, we have Dylan Adelaar. I'm not sure that I'm pronouncing right, but
That is okay. That is okay.
Okay, good. And Ilaria Vichi?
Vichi, in this
Vichi.
case.
Okay, good. We will be discussing with them the science behind the stress and practical ways to manage it. We will focus more on symptoms and consequences of work-related stress. Our main goal is to discuss common symptoms, their impact on well-being, provide practical advices for addressing symptoms early, and to emphasize the importance of seeking help when needed. So, Dylan, Ilaria, again, thank you for accepting my invitation. Thank you for joining us today.
No problem. Thank you.
Please, let's have a minute to introduce yourself with some words.
Ilaria, should I start?
Yeah, that's okay.
Okay. So I'm Dylan Adelaar. I'm working for Foundation Knowledge Center Pro Work. I'm a project manager for several years in this foundation. I started working here, I believe somewhere in 2018, if I'm correct, something like that, or a bit later. 19, you know better than me. 2019. Ilaria was a bit before me, so now we work very close on all kind of Erasmus Plus projects. I have a degree in. I'm 28 years old. I had a degree in sport marketing in the US. I just finished my cross media degree here in the Netherlands, and now and at the time I was in the US, I did a university degree in English. And at the moment, I'm running and managing several Erasmus Plus projects for our foundation. I think it's in short what I do at the moment.
Okay, thank you. And Ilaria?
Yeah, I'll go. My name is Ilaria Vichi, and as Dylan said, I've been working for ProWork for quite some time. I think since 2018 in my case. ProWork is a foundation, and the mission of ProWork is the career development of people with a distance to the labor market or to society in general. So our target, let's say, are people in needs or people who need guidance, counsel. In my case, my background is in economy, I've studied also project management concerning European funds and other types of funds. Let's say that's more or less it.
Okay, thank you. And my first set of questions are connected with what is our understanding of work-related stress. So what are the most common signs and symptoms of work-related stress that people often overlook?
I think there are two parts. One is the emotional part, being feeling like you don't have the energy to do anything, and there's a part more physical that some people overlook. For example, the burnout is often correlated with sleep deprivation. Um, and you don't it's hard to correlate that to a work problem, let's say. On the emotional side, it feels like feeling a bit drained, lack motivation, um, feeling overwhelmed, and it's not like one thing that comes, let's say, at you from 0 to 100, but it builds up until you cannot, let's say, you cannot work on it anymore, and it feels like you cannot. You are so overwhelmed that everything is a touchy point, let's say.
Yeah, and I think to add, I think you have also, I think, behavioral symptoms and social symptoms where you can see, for example, if somebody's if you're changes in your appetite, that you don't feel like eating, or maybe extra, or having a bad sleep, like sleep disturbances. Or for example, the social symptoms, I think withdrawing from social situations that people don't want to go to some kind of events, or that they feel stressed and that they don't feel like to, or have an increased conflict with others. So I think those things are sometimes maybe overlooked, as you think, yeah, somebody's not really feeling well, but it can also be really stress related from work.
And I think the last thing, well, there are many things that are correlated with burnout, of
Yeah.
course, but it also feels like the work life uh, doesn't end at the end of the day, at the end of your working
Mm.
hours, but it progresses. It's like you are working all the time, because if you're not
Yeah.
really working on it, you are thinking of it. So it's you don't get yourself some kind of yeah, you're always stressed, you're never relaxed, so you can never, let's say, take a breath. So that's more or less yeah, that's it.
And how do you think this could affect your personal life, relationship, social well-being? How are those symptoms that you're experiencing in your
Yeah, I
work?
feel
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
I'm sorry, you go, sorry.
No, yeah, go ahead. Go ahead, Ilaria. Go ahead. Ladies
No,
first.
but I
Go
was
ahead.
mentioning like Dylan said.
Yeah.
No,
Yeah.
uh,
Yeah.
you
It's
kind of
it's
feel
like
like you don't have time. Yeah, I went above
yeah.
you.
No, go ahead. Go
uh,
ahead.
you don't have time for your friends, for your social life, because you
Yeah.
are always thinking about what to do, about work, and you are not enjoying it anymore because your head is always there. So it reflects on that greatly, and you need to, when these things happen, you need to take a step back and analyze what's happening to you,
Mm.
and see that there's a problem. That's it.
Yeah, and it's even in the small things, in the daily things, like also it could be with you see sometimes with people that neglecting their self care, like not going exercising anymore, forget to drink, to hydrate, personal grooming, etc. So people just forget and get in this like bad flow, and that also show it on the social side.
And what do you think, which of these symptoms are the one that are the early warnings, signs of like the work-related stress is here, is coming, and it's a tough question, huh?
Yeah.
To
Yeah,
understand which of all those that you
yeah,
share now with us are
yeah,
really the first one, the early warnings.
yeah. I think maybe the if it's work related, I think the how do you say it? The happiness that you go to work. I mean, did you feel that your workspace is not feeling nice anymore? I think that you get maybe some muscle tensions and pain, some I think some small things, but I think it's really the first steps I think are really the hardest ones, is they are really yeah, sometimes you don't link it to work really, and I think that is hard to see and understand.
Yeah, and I think also it depends on your, of course, pattern of your working pattern. Maybe you are a procrastinator, but in case you
Mm.
aren't, starting to procrastinate, for example, tasks, that could be a sign that you are indeed a bit overwhelmed by things that are around you, and I think from the physical point of view, the sleep deprivation, it could be a sign that your body needs more rest, and they're expressing it like that. Yeah.
Mm. Are you managing people in your work? Do you have, let's say, are you leading teams?
And when we lead, we are both coordinating projects. So of course there are in projects there are people that are not part of our team, but in those cases there are also some, we coordinate our colleagues if we are leading that project. So
Yeah,
I'm not leading in general, but
yeah,
for projects, yeah, I do lead.
We do. Yeah.
Yeah.
So we could say that you have some people that you are leading, not like maybe an employer, but for sure you have a team that you're working with, and
Yeah.
um
You can
and
say
in, so my question here is, as a leaders of team of people, if you, let's say, see that some of your employee or some of your team member is starts addressing some symptoms, that he or she has, what you will do as a team leader?
First, I hope I would notice it right away. It's also hard to notice
Yeah.
on the
Yeah.
other side.
Mhm.
My first go-to is always the communication. So I would ask them how they're feeling, but it could be that they're not realizing that they are under stress,
Mhm.
or maybe they think it's just for a small period of time. But at first I would approach them by talking, and then if the person doesn't doesn't say, I think I'm under too much stress, or I think I'm heading towards a burnout.
Mhm.
It's hard to say, I think. But in that case I would say, okay, and maybe take away some work and have a closer look, not like watch them watch
Softly.
them from afar, let's say, and see if how things are going, and maybe ask again in a month, or in 2 weeks, maybe also in a different way, not using the word burnout, but in order to allow them to be free, and to feel like they could mention whatever they want, whatever is bothering them. But maybe
Yeah.
the sometimes the etiquette of the burnout is more an etiquette.
Yeah.
Maybe work related stress is better.
Yeah.
But so that's something, that's how I approach it.
Yeah,
Uh,
and I think and I think to add there, Ilaria, I think for us, of course, as you said, we don't we encourage, we have people like in projects under us, so you see them most of the time online, or and then it's also very hard to see if there's something like symptoms of from stress. I think the things that we can do from our side in our work field, I think, is just to assess the workload, what you already said, Ilaria, to see how much work somebody has, and maybe to shift some work, to allow some flexibility in that sense, to remove some work and pass it around, so that person has some maybe some lesser stress regarding this, and just have some clear expectations. I think for someone like that are having stress at the moment, just to know what they are up against, and the things they need to do, but that is then maybe a bit more less full. I think that for our side is that the only really things that we can do. I think, right,
yeah,
Ilaria? I don't.
no, and also be there. I mean, feel
Yeah,
I hope they feel
yeah,
like they can talk to us,
yeah,
and we are there to make their life even easier. Sometimes
yeah,
they need to do the
yeah.
work, of course, but it doesn't have to be all together. Uh,
No,
and if they are happy, the work is also better. So it's a
yeah.
win-win.
And what about because if you are, let's say, an employer, maybe it's quite easy to, let's say, reduce the work, or
Mhm.
communicate with him or with her, and trying to do all those things that you said. But what about if you're on the other hand, if you're an employee, and at some point you're saying, okay, I could feel it, I could understand that I am starting to have some symptoms to be in stress in my work. So what I could do as an employee?
I think it really first starts acknowledging it yourself that you are having stress. I think that is the first and most difficult one, I think. But that you pay attention on those symptoms. It could be anything, and then at that point I think if you really think like, "Ooh, these are really stress things," you really then you go out and start maybe speak with, for example, for us, like a project manager, like, I have this feeling, or I feel like a bit. Then you really talk it out instead of if you keep it. That's the difficult thing. If you keep it to yourself, it's also hard for someone else, like a project manager or a boss or whatever, to help you with that in that sense. And I think, and if you self-acknowledge it, I think from that point you can really work things out. So then speak about work, speak about maybe setting boundaries, talk about flexibility on the work floor. I think those things come if you first acknowledge it yourself. So I think that's the most important step in this sense as an employee self.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Ilaria, would you like
No,
to intervene?
I agree with everything you said. Plus, don't be afraid to ask for your holidays. I mean,
Yeah.
that's sometimes, yeah, people don't ask because they don't want to be a bother, or I don't know. It depends. Well, maybe in the Italian culture, there's a lot of that. But yeah, also some time off. It's well placed, let's say.
And what do you think could be the consequences if the person could not recognize that he or she is under stress and maybe even into burnout? So what could be the consequences in his work?
From many the
Mm.
quality of work, I think, would go
Yeah.
in a bad direction, let's
Yeah.
say.
Yeah.
um, Also the timing, the deadlines will not be respected, will not be attended, will respected, let's say. But also at some point they will I think they will kind of stop. I mean, you reach a point where you cannot do anything, and
Mm.
you need to avoid that point, because to recover from that point takes a lot of time. But eventually, the person in burnout will stop, and because they are so overwhelmed
Yeah.
that they cannot really continue working.
Yeah, stop functioning. Yeah, I
Yeah.
think you will get physical health issues, mental and emotional health issues. I think at the end, if you don't acknowledge it yourself, yeah, it starts building up to a point that you really can't function anymore. I think we've seen Ilaria. We've seen some examples that that people are quitting for a while their job. They have difficulty with work. So I think at the end, yeah, if you don't acknowledge it yourself, it will build up so far that you can't function anymore. So I think that is the in work, but I think also socially.
Good. And now maybe is the moment to include the topic of emotional intelligence. And how do you think this emotional intelligence contributes to the stress management?
Yeah, I think it of course it involves recognizing, understanding, and managing both your own emotions, but also the emotions of others. I think. But I think, I don't know, Ilaria, if you can add here something. I think it's, I don't know.
Um, yeah, I mean, I think there are 2 points in emotional intelligence that are really the first 2 points. The self-awareness, so be aware
Mm,
uh,
yeah.
that you have a problem, and then self-regulation. Those are kind of key in dealing with the stress coming from work. So I think that a person with, let's say, better, let's say, or higher, I don't know, emotional intelligence, or maybe a more, uh, I think you can practice it as well. You can, even if you're not used to it, you can practice it.
Mhm.
Can recognize the problem better, can handle it, can handle it better. Therefore, um, it's less likely to go on burnout.
Mhm. Okay, can you maybe, if you could answer me, what steps can individual take to develop and improve their emotional intelligence at work? You said that this
Yeah,
could be learned.
yeah. I think there are, I don't know, steps, but
Mm,
the first one, I don't know, in my opinion, in this case, is, we said it before as well, is to be open to communication
Yeah.
with yourself in this case and with others, and be also open to listen to what the other
Yeah.
have to say.
Exactly.
That's a good, in normal life, not only when
Yeah.
you are under stress, in general. Also, maybe it's normal to have, let's say, negative emotions. So maybe you need to know that it's normal to have them. They can go away, and let's say,
Mhm.
it's not the end of the world. So things will go bad, or are negative or positive, but they are emotions. So eventually they will go away. um, Maybe also, always regarding colleagues,
Yeah.
it's nice every now and then acknowledge the work of the others, as much as you would like the others to acknowledge yours. So a good feedbacks, you've done a good job.
Yeah.
You can say, I mean, you cannot control what the other do to you, say to you, but you can give your positive input to the
Yeah. Exactly.
environment.
Yeah.
So you can do your step. And I think last but not least, there are a lot of um, I'm thinking about stress management and mindfulness. So
mhm,
there are a lot of work related, mindfulness, let's say, that can be practiced, and that could really help. Um, really help the person to be more leveled up. In this case, if I can, we have one project that's called Deepsika,
Mm.
and in Deepsika we have a platform with, divided in two. On one part, there's all kind of digital courses, let's say, for remote workers. That's the target. Remote workers with work-related issues. That's to be precise. On the
Mm.
other end, there are all these kind of exercises to relax yourself while
Yeah.
you're working, to create a better environment for yourself. And there are, some mindfulness exercises, some breathing exercises. So it could be, we think it could be helpful in general,
Yeah.
let's say, and in particular we have this project. So that's, those are more or less the steps, I would say.
mhm,
Yeah, and I think to add here, I think, yeah, well, what you said, Ilaria, the important is enhancing your social skills. I think communicating clearly and respectfully, if you're self-stressed, but also to others. I think that also helps a bit resolving the conflicts and the stress you're getting, and managing conflicts calmly. I mean, if you're stressed, I think it works both ways. I mean, I think that is also really important. But the rest, I think, Ilaria, what you said was really on point.
And do you know some other maybe example and techniques that like good practices that you or other companies implement uh, in their work to overcome with stress of their employees or
We have them as well. Maybe in
Mhm.
a, no, we have them. I think, um, we do well. I didn't say that at the beginning, but I work for Pro Work, but I live in Italy,
Mhm.
and I go to the Netherlands every, let's say, two or three,
One
two or
once in a
three
while,
times. Yeah, once in a while, two or three
once in a
times
while.
a year. And in the last times, let's say, that I was there, our bosses have organized some team building, how do you say,
Days. Yeah,
building
yeah,
days, yeah.
yeah, yeah,
uh,
yeah.
Simple things, but we work with leather, for example, in one case. But we were all in a different context from work,
Yeah.
and we had fun. We had a nice lunch, and it was and we were all together, so it was all of us. So I think these kind of things, where you are, yeah, you are with your colleagues, but you're not working, you're just having fun. They help you build trust in the others, and
Yeah.
they help make the environment friendlier, let's say.
Did you ever heard, because I read an article about, it's a huge company that they have an employee, and he's happiness manager or manager of happiness or something like this.
Yeah, yeah,
Did you
you
ever
see.
heard? Is my first question, and second question, what do you think such kind of position and these people could make? I don't know, could do in
Yeah, I know that there are some companies that have those happiness employees, but this is more in at the bigger organizations, bigger companies, and they what you see is, for example, that at some points I know it from not here closely, but in like in the more in the city region here in the Netherlands. Those companies they at some point in the day, for example, they just they have like a system that their computer will shut down or their will shut down. They will be have a pause for an hour, and then those employees they have like some all kind of workshops that they do to stress relief, do have exercises, have yeah, and I think it could of course be a good thing as yeah, is if you work from 8 to 5 or 9 to 5, and you're only focused on your work stress, and yeah, maybe you know it yourself. I think it's good to have some breaks, and it's sometimes difficult to take a break. It's good to that somebody will take that break for you and do some kind of things just to relieve your mind. I think it's the same as what Ilaria meant also with the if you go on a workshop with each other for a day, just to learn each other outside of work. I think this is like also similar to this, but then a smaller scale. Just have it day by day, some moments in the day. It could improve. I think it, and I think there are studies about this that it is really improving people's stress at work. So of course it works. The only thing is that you need a big organization and you need some money to have somebody to arrange everything. And I think that is the thing that employers sometimes think, yeah, is this really necessary? But yeah, I think sometimes sometimes yeah, it is good. So I don't know, Ilaria, if you have something similar in Italy, but
Yeah, I never heard of it,
no,
honestly.
no.
Maybe it's in Italy,
Yeah,
this thing, but I never heard.
maybe yeah, maybe it's a Dutch thing. I don't know.
Uh, did you see any statistic, or how is the things when it comes to stress, work-related stress in the Netherlands? Like, do you know, for example, or in your opinion, if
Hmm.
you didn't read some statistic about this, but do you know, or did you spot any statistic about how many people have
Yeah,
those?
y- yeah, no, yeah. I've read some things about it, and but it's been a while now that I've read it. But there are some things what I saw from those statistics. It was more about how is stress at work, with people having burnout, dropping from work. It were more statistic about how is that it, yeah, they saw that it was really increasing in the time. So it was. People got more stressed because they feel like more pressured. But it's also regarding there were some things why, and it was regarding society, the things that people um, feel pressed because they need to succeed. They need to be this person that they're sometimes they're not. And you saw in those statistics that it was the burnout was really increasing. So then they were starting to think how to tackle and solve those things. Now you see a lot of television commercials about mental health, about burnouts, like some small commercials to address this problem, and that you need to be aware of this problem also, I think, regarding employers. But it is something that is from time to time, it is increasing, and they're now really at this point, the last two years, they're really trying to find a solution to this. But the direct numbers, I'm not sure about it anymore, so that's why I'm not sure. But I know it was really increasing, and that is really a hot topic. So it's really good to address this problem.
And maybe separated, or did you see a separated statistic about women and men who are the
Yeah, it was
that
more. No, yeah, it was like an overall overview, and it was not really divided between men and women. It was more like how on the work floor, there was a kind of people that were jobless, but there were also like a big group that was really increasing with burnout that came back home, and that you also see, of course. How do you say it? Because the cost of somebody that will get home and can't work anymore will rise as well. And it was also a big thing that those costs were, yeah, of course, it's similar to each other. So it was increasing a lot as well. So it was not really about men and women, but it was more in general, like what is happening on the work floor here. So
it's increasing. That's like
it is increasing. Yes,
good.
exactly. Yeah.
It's not good, but let's
No, yeah.
try
Yeah.
try to have more project under this topic and try to really take care of this.
Yeah.
So I would like, in the end of our podcast, I would like to ask you to summarize maybe the key takeaways from our discussions. And of course, if you would like to share with us something that I didn't ask you about our topic.
I would say what we I think that's something that we mentioned multiple times. So communication, and that I'm
Yeah.
summarizing
Yeah.
with this. Better communicate with yourself. Learn to communicate. Learn to communicate with others, and learn to acknowledge when something is not going as usual, or is not the standard, or it doesn't feel right. Stop 1 second, reflect, and communicate with your boss, with your project leader, team manager, whatever you have, and try to find a solution. Because if it is indeed for work stress related, it's better to tackle it first than towards the end.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, and I think a small thing to add here. I think the really important thing is really the self-acknowledgement. Like really, if you as an employee, I mean, if you really, it's really important to see and check yourself on things that you might feel like maybe this is stress, and I think to help yourself, that is the most first important step to follow. Recognition.
Okay, thank you very much. Really appreciate your time, Ilaria and
Thank you.
Dylan.
Thank you.
Appreciate that you share with us your insights on managing stress. And to our listeners, remember to stay tuned for our next episode. Head over to www.stressout-project.eu to learn more about our initiatives. Make sure to download the StressOut mobile app to learn how to manage work-related stress and burnout effectively. And also follow us on LinkedIn and Facebook at StressOut-project. Thank you again, and thank you for tuning in.